What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be changing the oil on a Kawasaki Z650. This one is the 2022 model, but all the Z650s are the same up until 2025. So a few things you're going to need is 2 liters of oil, 10W40. I just have regular mineral oil here for 4 strokes. You're going to need 2 of these. You're going to need an oil filter. I always get the Kawasaki ones. You're going to need an oil filter wrench. You're also going to need a ratchet with a 17mm socket, a funnel, and an oil pan. So now that we got the oil pan under here, or the oil catch can, you're going to want to empty out the drain bolt, which is right here on the kickstand side on the lowest part of the motor. And like I said, that's a 17mm. So you're going to put your 17mm wrench in there and you're just going to loosen it. So now that we loosened it with the ratchet, you're going to want to be careful. Make sure you have your bucket placed properly. Because I don't have a rear stand to lift up the back, it is a little bit tricky with the kickstand. It's kind of in the way, but just make sure to place it under as best as possible. Take off the drain bolt. And it should drain into the pan. Just like that. Make sure you take your drain plug with the washer on it. Unfortunately, I didn't pick up a new washer, so I'm gonna have to reuse this crush washer. I don't like doing that, but I think it should be okay. It looks okay. Got my puppy here. It's dripping a little bit more. I'm actually gonna stand the bike upright and let it drain a little bit more. So before moving the bike upright, I'm just gonna move this drain pan over a little bit. And then I'm going to sit on the bike and I'm going to tilt it forwards as if I was in a riding position. Look at the oil. It's draining out a little bit more. So I just take a sheet of tinfoil, I wrap it around my exhaust, make a little funnel into the oil pan, and then you're going to take off the oil filter. I'm going to do it by hand. Hopefully it doesn't leak everywhere too much. So now you just take this off by hand. Of course, oil is going to go everywhere. Make sure to empty the oil filter into the pan. Make sure that the rubber gasket actually came off with the filter. Sometimes it could get corroded onto there. Now you're just going to want to clean up the surrounding area where the oil filter was on. Make sure to be careful you don't push anything into the motor through the oil filter section. Now that the old oil filter is off, we're going to open this one. Just comes wrapped in a little bag. It's good, has the gasket. Make sure it's the right filter. Seems to be okay. Dabble a little bit in the old oil. Coat the new ring in oil just to make sure it suctions to the bike properly. Once you got that, you're just going to want to go ahead and install. What I like to do is I like to put it hand tight or hand snug, because you do not want to over tighten the filter, that's for sure. Now that the oil filter's on there, I just like cleaning up around the filter, getting all the excess oil off, cleaning up maybe on the bottom of the engine. Good opportunity. Now we got the new filter installed. Now you're going to want to reinstall the oil drain bolt right under here, again under the kickstand. I just like putting it hand tight for now. And then once it's hand tight, I like cleaning up around the edges. So again, I just grab a little piece of paper towel, or you could take a cloth microfiber towel, anything. And I screw it in the rest of the way, and I clean up around the drain bolt. Now it's all clean and ready to get torqued. I don't have a torque wrench small enough to get to the spec for torque on the drain bolt, so I just go by hand. You definitely don't want to over torque it. Just hand tight with the ratchet. So now I just remove the oil drain pan carefully. Careful not to spill it. And move it aside. Make sure there's no drippage. And now I'm just going to grab a microfiber towel with some alcohol and clean up my exhaust because I did get some oil on it. Now that we got the oil filter on and the drain bolt on, we're going to fill it up with the new oil. And a little trick that I like to do is for the old excess oil that we don't want anymore, after we're done putting this oil on the bike, because the bike I think takes approximately 2 liters, I'm going to just put that oil back into this one. So now to put the new oil into the bike, we're going to come onto this side of the bike right here, and we're going to remove this plug right here, and that's going to give us access to the engine to put the funnel in here. All I do now is I put the funnel in there like that. You want to open up your oil, and you're just going to want to start pouring it in to the engine. Not too quick, because then the oil will overfill and it'll pour out of here. So you just want to go slow. The oil starts to fill up in there. So just take your time. When you see it start to fill up, you back off a little bit. And then you add more. Kawasaki recommends to change it, maybe every 6,000 kilometers. But I like to change it way earlier than that. Just for the peace of mind. I don't get synthetic either. I just get regular oil. So to change it more frequently, for me, is just preferred. I prefer doing that. So now we got 1 full liter bottle in there. Now we're on to the second one. Same process. Just go slow, make sure it doesn't overflow. There we go. So now that this bottle is done, I like to make sure I get every last drop. I'm gonna put the lid back on this. Take the funnel out of the bike. Now you're just going to want to take this plug and plug her back up. Again, not too tight, hand snug. So now that we got everything tightened back up and all of the oil in the bike, I like waiting a little bit, because I cannot pre-fill the oil filter on this bike, just because the way it goes onto the bike, I don't know if you can see here, the way it goes onto the bike, it's tilted downwards, so all the oil would just come out. I could pre-fill it a little bit, but I just prefer putting all the oil in the bike, letting the oil sit, get to the bottom of the engine into the filter, and then after that, I'm going to tilt the bike upwards, and I'm going to check the oil sight glass, make sure that it is in between these 2 lines, and perfect. As you're waiting, you could just check around the bike, make sure that there's no leakage anywhere, make sure you tightened everything up properly. You could get somebody to sit on the bike and just make sure that the oil level is filled up to the proper level, and then you're all done.